Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
This is insane. Scientists have just shocked the world after releasing a video where you can hear the first direwolf howl in 10,000 years. The Times just wrote an article about it and described it as the return of the direwolf. Now, if you didn't already know, direwolves once roamed the Americas from Canada all the way down to Venezuela. But about 10,000 years ago, they vanished, going extinct along with other giant Ice Age animals like the mammoth. But their bones stayed behind. And fast forward to 2025, scientists at Colossal Biosciences recently discovered ancient DNA inside fossils that dated all the way back from 11,000 to 72,000 years old. Then, using that DNA that they discovered, they managed to decode the direwolf's entire genetic blueprint. And here is where things get wild. They took ordinary DNA from a gray wolf and then edited it gene by gene to perfectly match the ancient direwolf's genetic code. Then, using domestic dogs as surrogate mothers, Romulus and Remus were born in October. Colossal claim that they are the first de-extinct animals ever. And at just 6 months old, they are already 4 feet long, weigh 80 pounds. And what's crazier is that instead of being really friendly and cuddly, the Times report that they're kind of cold, cautious, and avoid humans entirely. They even avoid the people who raised them and bottle fed them from birth. Colossal posted about this achievement on X, saying, "This moment marks not just a milestone for us as a company, but also a leap forward for science, conservation, and humanity." They said they're aiming to revolutionize endangered species by mastering genetic technology. And if successful, not only could we hold on to our current species from going extinct, but maybe even bring back the ones lost to the past. However, not everyone is celebrating. Some say calling this de-extinction is disingenuous, arguing that they are only grey wolves with 20 edited genes to mimic direwolf traits. And others warn that this kind of genetic meddling could lead to catastrophic consequences. But what do you think? Is this an amazing scientific breakthrough that should continue to be pursued? Or are we messing with things far beyond our control, risking consequences that we can't possibly predict?
I'm happy he put that in there because that's exactly what I was thinking. Jurassic Park. This sounds like it could be catastrophic. Shout out to Dylan Page. They're already saying these wolves ain't friendly. Could you imagine? If they're doing this with the direwolf, what other species they are doing it with?
Celebrating her sister's birthday. Everything seemed normal at first, but something completely out of the ordinary was going to happen. An old abandoned and deteriorated cabin in the backyard of the house, with walls rotted and overcome by time, was harboring something. The door of the cabin was opening as if someone or something was watching, waiting. The family claims it's haunted by something sinister, and they're right. Watch this.
Me estoy quedando en una cabaña por el cumpleaños de mi hermana, y enfrente hay como una cabaña así, como pero abandonada, chiquita. Y es como una casita del árbol, así como para niños, no sé. Eso se ve muy tenebroso. No sé si se vaya a caer esto porque está como todo podrido. Y no veo como para encender las luces ni nada. Mira, allá está la cabaña. Y... No tiene luz. Hay como una mesa, hay ganchitos de ropa y televisor.
Video of 9 different UAPs that was released by Skywatchers last night. I need you guys to listen to this and listen to what he's saying, especially about when recording this phenomena as well, and some of the barriers that get met behind it. So check it out and listen.
We've broken the UAPs down into 9 classes or types. Some of these classes may be the same UAP under different flight configurations, but at this point, given their behavior, we're confident they don't align with conventional or terrestrial explanations. Each UAP class has different characteristics. Some shimmer, some tumble, some spin. Some look like they're alive and they just fly like a living object in the sky. UAPs are extremely hard to image. What is seen with the naked eye is generally not what is seen under camera. The class 1 often spins, tumbles through the sky. Craft looks like a black body. It appears to flash, pulse multiple times per second. There appears to be some kind of cloud or vapor around it. We've seen class 1s in formations up to 22, 23, flying in different flight formations, different flock formations. The class 2 is the class of tic-tac. We've seen it in groups of 2 to 3, often flying very erratically. We've seen these a couple years in a row, and usually we see them in groups. The class 3, the blob, a pulsing, vibrating cloud. There's something, maybe perhaps a cylinder kind of in the middle that has a different light like a flame, and then it vibrates and pulses as it moves through space. The class 4 is your orb. We've only seen it in infrared, but the class 4 seems to only come during certain activities in conjunction with perhaps the class 1. We don't have enough data yet to confirm. The class 5 we call the manta ray. It seems to tumble and rotate as it moves through the sky. Class 6 is bright star. That one vibrates very, very fast. It literally looks like a crystal in the sky. The class 7 is the jellyfish. It's probably about 2 meters across. The head is purple and black in color, and then it has tentacles. The class 8 we call the hornet. It looks very similar to the class 7, the jellyfish, except for it's bigger, and it's almost like a jellyfish carrying something. And then the class 9 is the egg. The class 9 isn't something we have a lot of data on. It's very limited. We have it as Skywatcher during our California event. It's an emerging class. And we have strong evidence that it probably exists.
So there's 9 different classifications of UAPs. That's crazy. I think the most recent one we've come familiar with is the egg. Shout outs to Interstellar Discussion. Shout outs to Skywatchers. So you could say it's beneficial in the grand scheme of things.
Linkin Park lead singer Chester Bennington's son has come out saying that he believed his father was killed. For the longest time, he was a firm believer that his father committed suicide like it was reported, but I just found a video and I messaged him asking if I could use it, and I got confirmation, but he made a video saying that he believed his father was killed for a purpose and he will continue to investigate this. I'm going to add a couple clips here, just make sure you watch them.
My name is Jamie Bennington. I'm 27 years old. I am the firstborn son of Chester Bennington, and over the last 6 years, I've gone from a firm supporter of his suicide to someone who's absolutely convinced that he did not take his own life, and that instead, he was killed by something or someone for some purpose. And I will be investigating that until I find the truth.
And also, like, why does Kanye get to say my dad was killed, but I don't?
Chester left for California in 2013. How about a year later, he had been recruited successfully by the district attorney's office of Orange County and pioneering an anti-human trafficking task force effort.
If you've gone down any rabbit holes, there's a chance you might know who this is. This is Isaac Cappy. And I do the quotes, well, you'll find out in a minute. You see, Isaac Cappy supposedly died after jumping off a bridge not too long after he created a video supposedly exposing all these elites for doing all these terrible things. Here's what I mean. He created a video saying, I'm not suicidal.
I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal.
And then he also released a video talking about Seth Green and his children.
At the end of the night, it was me, Seth, and his brother-in-law, and Seth turned to me and opened up this secret bookshelf, and he's like, "This is where we keep the children." And I was like, I tried to just put it out of my mind, but then about a month later, Seth, Claire, and I were having a dinner at their house, and Seth said, we now need to have a talk about chicken.
But here's why I'm making this video. It's because none of them, and who do I mean by them? I mean any single person on TV. None of them at all turn on each other. They don't try to expose anything. They don't try to expose anything anyone else is doing. This is created. He was instructed to say this, and they want you stuck. They want you looking for truth, thinking, oh, it's not a suicide. He was taken out for trying to expose the bad guys, and they want you stuck there. They don't want you finding the real truth, that he's not even dead, and he's not even Isaac Cappy. You see, this is David Rothschild, a member of the Rothschild family. And if you don't know who the Rothschild family is, I'm going to let you go research that yourself. But let's just say it's part of the very elite class ruling this realm we live in. And boy, doesn't he look like someone to you? Let's take Isaac Cappy and let's change his hair a little bit and then add some glasses. And notice the nose doesn't even change. It's the exact same nose. The exact same. Because Isaac Cappy is David Rothschild. And they create these narratives of actors pretending to expose other actors, so you think there are actually good guys behind the scenes trying to do things. It's what the whole Q movement is. It's what the whole Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell exposing child trafficking is. It's nonsense. It's the lies they create to stop you from getting to the real truth. And the real truth is that none of them die. None of them have accidents, and none of them are sacrificed. They're all part of the group brainwashing, indoctrinating, lying to you so you don't know up from down and left from right and round from flat in who you are and where you live. And as soon as you stop listening to any of these morons, and when I say morons, I mean all of them, everyone on TV, political world, music world, and even unfortunately the athletic world, they are not the people you should be looking to for advice or recommendations or truth. They don't provide truth. They are there to confuse you, to confuse your brain so much, and to get you, the biggest thing is to get you to worship them instead of God. That's it. They want you to worship them. It's what the fallen angels wanted. It's what Lucifer wanted. It's what the stars want. Notice how they're called stars, and in the Bible, angels are referred to as stars, especially in the book of Enoch, because they're the stars of today. They're the fallen angels of today. They want you worshiping them instead of God. So stop listening to these morons, every single one of them. Stop getting mad when I am exposing the people that you look to and you love their TV show. Oh, Jonathan Rumi, you're so great because you play Jesus. He's a freaking liar. He's lying to your face and you are worshiping him. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? Thank you. Of course, all this for entertainment purposes. I know these are all great people, and especially none of them are, the opposite gender that they present themselves as. Definitely not. And none of them play other parts, and none of them fake their deaths. They're all great people. Entertainment only.
It's definitely one of them videos that get you thinking. Shout out to the fittest flat earther.
That crane failed lifting one block that was half the weight of these Giza pyramid blocks. Whoa, this right here is one block. Yet experts say that slaves dragged 2.3 million of these across 500 miles. That's like dragging these from Ohio to New York. Look at this. The pyramid is aligned perfectly to true north. That's more accurate than the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, which was designed to be true north and still missed by double. They say this place is just a tomb, but there's no hieroglyphs, there's no writings, there's nothing in here. It looks like a power generator to me. Look at the coordinates. 29.9792 north latitude. That is the speed of light. Look how precise these stones are. These were actually designed to be interlocked. Mainstream Egyptologists say that the pyramids were carved using copper or bronze tools. Granite is a 7 to 8 on the Mohs scale. Bronze is just a 3, which is softer than your fingernail. And the 3 pyramids are positioned to match Orion's belt, not approximately, but exactly by satellite measurement.
Okay, my friends, the most supreme shocker of all shocker du jours is about to occur. And now this is not an attack on anybody, but I've been getting overwhelmed with saying, well, you got to see this about the Great Pyramids. They found out it conducts electricity. I said, well, let me look at this. And I looked at it, and it's making it sound like, yeah, we found it, these wires wrapped right around, and they found the wires and all this stuff. I said, no. They did it like an ultrasound type of thing, where they could see that things were different. There was something structurally different in the ground. I'll go along with that. But that doesn't mean that they're wires and all that stuff. I don't think. If somebody can prove that to me, I'd love to see it. I can show you what they are. And they relate to this. And you say, well, how could they relate to that? And I said, well, I'm glad you asked. Because this, my friends, if you're a mud fossil people, you know what it is already. I don't have to even tell you. But I will. That's just what I do. Look at this carefully. Just look at it. You got to look at the colors. You got to look at the patterns, and then you got to follow where it takes you. And where does it take you? To the Great Pyramids. And what does that mean? Well, we're going to find out in a minute. Okay, again, this is not an attack on anybody, but she's freaking out, saying, "Wow, what did they see? It's, what they're showing. It's just not what is reality." Now, they're saying synthetic aperture radar, Doppler tomography. It's nothing more than like a CAT scan of the ground. And here's what she's saying they found.
And then from the results, they are able to create like 3D models of what they think the sound waves are showing.
The sound waves.
I can't talk. I'm so excited. So underneath the pyramid, they have found 8 huge cylindrical structures that are aligned perfectly in 2.
All right, now, they're seeing these tubes. I'm not saying they don't, but is there more than one explanation for this? Are these what she said? What do you see what she's showing that they are? Like, this is an absolute fact? No, it's not.
And there's 4 pairs of them, and they go deep into the earth. So this is a 3D recreation of what the SAR scan shows. So you can see these 8 cylindrical pillars that go deep down, and then each pillar is surrounded by like a circular path or walkway or tube. Okay, and this is not all. This is the beginning of it. Not only that, at the very base of the pyramid, like ground zero of the pyramid in the center, they have found 5 of these kind of stacked chambers, which are...
I just want to tell you, stacked chambers, that's not a problem at all. That's what these things do. Now, there's no sense to keep... If you want to watch this, you could.
Identical, look like they're kind of identical in size and form as the King's Chamber of the Khufu Pyramid, the one next door. So these are made with huge blocks
all right, let me just
of underground structures that go deep down. And what is under that?
All right, so I'm just going to jump ahead. She's showing these things like they're real.
We're not exactly sure. This is just what is showing up from the scans. Oh, and I'm sorry, did I tell you how deep these cylindrical tubes go under the pyramid? 648 meters.
That's no problem. What we're looking at as a pyramid are nothing more than scales on the body of the creature. So yes, the blood vessels would go down all that distance. This is, it is not a power station.
Yeah, there is evidence that there are...
This is the scan they're looking at. Say, oh, it's a power station. That's supposed to be a pyramid up there. I'm sorry, that just doesn't hold water in my book. And again, you did a nice job. I know you're excited. It's just not right.
You're telling me the Freemasons didn't build these? Right? Those are ancient seals up there, tied into this stonework. Right on the other side, that's Hebrew underneath that. Right, that's your Royal Arc Mason, that triangle right there. There's going to be another church right down the street that matches his structure. Same Freemasons that built that structure, Schenectady Civic Players, built this church right here. Right, it's the same exact stone. Those are the Masonic pillars that were in Union College. They got the red and gray marble pillars, the same pillars that are in Saratoga's Battle Monument, the obelisk, the same place that's in Troy at the Music Hall. These are all Masonic halls. That stained glass and this bell right here were all second editions. These were wide open temple synagogues. This is New York State's first historic district, all right? This is the first Reformed church. This is the first Templar structure built in Schenectady, New York. You see how the door is wide open, then there's a second door in there? That's because all these arches were wide open. There was no doors in them, right? They put these doors in right here, installed them all and put steps up to them. These were giant open arches that go down a little bit further. Right across the street, you can see it dips off in the back. Right here. See, it dips down. There's stuff all beneath these buildings. They blocked in that window, put a window in here, put stone in this one. All right, they fill all these structures in. It says 1862 right there on the building. This plaque right here says 1680, founded before 1680, the Dutch church. So I don't understand where they lose 200 years of history on this building. It's because they pulled them blocks and put new ones in. See how there's concrete right there on that block? Alright, from them filling it back in and moving it, they probably pulled this off another building. Look how old the weathering is on this structure alone. See how it dips off in the back and goes down beneath? And that's going to be your next one right there. I'll go over there. Same stonework as the last 2 structures I showed you. You can see there's a red Templar cross right there on the sign. That's one of their markers. This door right here is a Masonic arc. It goes back to Mesopotamia. Right there again on the door, there's a Templar cross. And look at this artwork they got right here. Alright, it's a Templar knight on a horse, killing one of them Tartarian birds. See right there in the corner how there's another Templar cross? Alright, there's that pagan synagogue. Every time you see that red cross, that's a marker for your Templars. This is another temple that got bricked over right next to this one. They bricked over this structure right here. These are permanent ties going along the side. underneath here, these windows, those would have had seals underneath it, like in Watervliet, the police station, that also got bricked over. If you pull the brick off of this, there's going to be a face of a temple underneath it, just like in this photo, right? Another pagan temple with a door going down underneath it. All these buildings connect underground. They bricked over this one.
It's crazy how many buildings were bricked over. Shout out to NDO's 369. These structures were phenomenal, man. It seems as if they have free energy. And was that a Tartarian connection we just seen?
Passing by a house, something peculiar caught their attention. So they drove back around and decided to park and start recording the moment. You can notice through the reflection of that window a woman dancing. But when they shine a light, they realize it's a reflection of someone in a mirror. The house is derelict, and it's strange that a mirror is there reflecting someone, but no one is inside the house. So what is the mirror reflecting? Or who?
Multiply. Y'all want to hear my super fun theory about the pyramids? I'm going to show you the actual science behind this and then tell you why I think they built them. What they are actually for. When they were actually used. First things first, a brief timeline of ancient Egypt. I do believe exactly none of these people built those pyramids. I do believe that these people right here got off the ark and multiplied. We can discuss that part later. I do believe the evidence shows that these buildings right here were constructed before the flood. And that's partly because they can be found all over the world on every continent, not Antarctica. Wait till it thaws. Wait till it thaws out and then we'll see what's on Antarctica, won't we? I do believe the pyramids the world over are the remnants of a pre-flood civilization, the antediluvian world. Atlantis, if you want. First, a brief word about time and dates. I'm not sure how it's escaped everyone, but time is relative and experience is dilation, periods where it gets stretched out. And periods where it gets condensed. Just all the time. It goes through this just like everything else. And I do mean in constant flux, time and space both stretch out and condense, stretch out and condense. So if we're looking back at the historical record and trying to put times and dates on everything, using a standard measurement in a dynamic system where that measurement stretches out and condenses, I think not. If we are in a period where time is condensed, and we're measuring all of time as if it stays that way when it does not, we do err greatly. It's gonna look like millions and billions of years and we're gonna look like fools writing that down on the paper because it ain't no such thing. You ask a modern academic how old the earth is, he might say 1,000,000 billion years. 4.5 billion years, what he'll say probably. Ask a galaxy, he's gonna say 6 days. Anyway, geometry is super important to reality in every way, shape, and form. Shape and form. Now, what may appear to you and I as a pyramid, well, you see, in real life, it's a toroid. You might say, no, it's not, it's a pyramid. Just like I say the Earth is a toroid, and people say, no, it's not, it's an oblate spheroid. or a frisbee, depends on who you ask. Look, I'm not talking about the parts you can see, I'm talking about the part your dirt eyeballs cannot observe. It is a toroid. The pyramid shape induces a magnetic field. It sucks the ions out of the upper ionosphere, and you can't just have a vacuum. That space up there is filled with plasma. And being that it's a direct part of this process right here, and that this process is toroidal vortex, like everything else, the plasma organizes itself, self-organizing, toroidal plasmoids. And here's the fun part. I do mean bodies. Remember how I said Earth is a toroid? The universe is a toroid. Full of toroids, nested toroids, they're called. So that this is the Earth, and heaven has 3 levels. The sky, what we call space, where the sun and the stars are, and paradise, what we can't see, where the throne of God is, heaven. Has 3 layers, sky, space, and paradise. I put this in quotation so that hopefully you won't lose your mind, but rather know what I'm referring to, that space up there, past the sky. The second heaven, it is called. So the pyramids are on Earth, generating bodies in the sky. Self-organizing toroidal plasmoid sky bodies. Okay, stay with me. Understanding I'm not making up the self-organizing toroidal plasmoid part at all. That is happening still today. Think of it like unto a robot factory spitting out robot bodies with no operating system because the whole factory isn't functioning, just the part that spits out the bodies. The rest of it is all shut down, but the bodies keep piling up in the sky there, right? I'm not saying that no one has found use for those bodies up there. There are a bunch of demons that died in the flood. The demons, or unclean spirits, being the offspring of fallen angels mated with women. How did fallen angels mate with women? Well, have you heard of self-organizing toroidal plasmoid bodies in the sky? I don't know exactly, all right? But something real wild is happening here. Pyramids generate sky bodies that are also toroids. The toroid part being essential for life. What you're looking at right there could be referred to as metabolism when it's happening in you and I. Without metabolism, this body becomes uninhabitable. That's why even zombies gotta eat. Wait, zombies aren't real. We already have examples, potentials. Don't go dismissing that idea. Now, they're already using this in science. Arranging atoms into pyramid shapes, especially at the nanoscale, can create unique electromagnetic properties and effects. They're already using this in our technology. On the nanoscale, so that when I say that the law of distribution, the energy and mass is distributed at the same ratio on all levels, from the quantum physics to the cosmic, the laws of physics organizing that equally distributed mass and energy by the same rules on all levels, the quantum confirms the classical. When I tell you this has been observed of the pyramids, this right here is mainstream science. So let me tell you my whole theory. We're going to read 2 Bible verses. I'm going to point something out special in each one. The first is from Joshua chapter 24, verse 15. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. And here it comes, look. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood. There it is. Or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. Wait a minute, 2 different sets of gods? But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. What gods did their fathers serve that were on the other side of the flood? Because I know the gods of the Amorites were Nimrod and Semiramis, humans, who claimed to be descended from the gods on the other side of the flood. Wait a minute. Claimed to be the reincarnation of those gods who died in the flood. What? Were no longer to be found anywhere in the land after the flood. What are we going to do? Don't worry. One of their descendants got off the ark, and she had children. And now Semiramis and Nimrod and Tammuz can take the place of those gods that got wrapped in chains and thrown into hell when God flooded the earth. That's Genesis 6 and Jude chapter 1. 1 Peter 3, read that too. It'll help Ephesians 4 make more sense. Why did Jesus descend into hell when he got crucified? Well, one reason was to preach to disobedient spirits who fell in the days of Enoch. Okay, but if angels quit their first estate in heaven to come to the earth to be gods and mate with women, how did they mate with women if they left their bodies in heaven? What bodies did they have on earth? Our next scripture is Revelation 13, verse 14. I'm going to add 15 to it. There are two beasts mentioned in Revelation 13. The first is from the sea, the second is from the land. That's not the part we're going to focus on. The second beast deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, here it is right here, that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live. The second beast makes an image for the first beast. If you don't know what all that's talking about, that's not what we're focusing on. Make an image unto the beast. And this is an idol, like Nebuchadnezzar made a gold statue of himself. But why did they make idols of themselves for men to worship and such? What is the idols thing? Making artificial bodies out of stone and metal and stuff? Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Wait a second. This isn't a dude making a statue of himself and then he having his own people who won't bow down to his statue killed. It's talking about a statue that comes to life and has authority. God made a big deal all through the Old Testament about how the idols were dumb. They couldn't speak. They couldn't answer prayers. They couldn't do anything. They were statues. Why did they build statues and then think that they would do stuff for them, though? Like, where'd they get this idea? How did they know that this right here was even possible? They didn't really. They were very ignorant, but they got that idea from somewhere. Even if they didn't know what it meant, they had the idea from somewhere, and they were trying to do it themselves. And now we are building our own gods, but these are no longer dumb. They can talk and sweep the floor. And I'm not even going to tell you what the actual industry that's going to drive this is. So, recorded ancient Egyptian religion. Imagine you had to get on a boat to survive a worldwide flood. And you had your iPhone in your pocket. While you're on the boat waiting for the water to go down, your iPhone dies. Now what are you going to do? You came from a world of civilization and technology, but that's all gone now. You're going to tell your kids about it, and they're going to hold all of that knowledge in ignorance until time should catch up once more. And they can begin to understand what all of this actually means, what it actually does, rather than what a pitiful game of telephone taught ancient Egyptians. Can a god from heaven dwell in a building? Well, it does have a metabolism. Could a god from heaven enter into one of these buildings and use it to manifest himself a body of some sort? And can men be deceived into building bodies for celestial beings to leave theirs in heaven to come to earth to dwell in? I do not know how all of this is related yet. I only know that it is, and we are going to find out. There's nothing new under the sun. That thing that was is that thing that shall be again. As the days of Noah were, so shall it be once more. You don't believe in myths? That's funny. You're in one.
You don't believe in myths? It's funny because you're in one. Shout outs to Dead Hidden. I don't know why I keep getting these Transformer vibes from these pyramids, especially when we started going into the robots. And the possibility of one of these temples or structures could hold an entity. Wow, this was an eye-opener, especially him having a graph right there and these sonar images being taken from underground. When he started talking about the beast, I started thinking about what Roger Spur's been talking about, ironically.
Okay, my outstanding friends, Char du jour, keep your eye on this and this pyramid. Now, I am at the north is down this way. We're going to switch it to the other side, and there appears to be another one there. Now I'm coming around, boom. What's this? Why is that there? There's one on the other side, there's one here. Now you can see all the little lines here, like they built it with bricks. I can't deny that it looks like that. I absolutely agree with that. However, I have a different take on it. And there's the three pyramids right in a row, and they're facing exactly the same side going down this way. Now I'm going to show you some ancient pictures, well, some pictures that were somebody drew long ago. But when I look at this, I see some things here that I don't understand if it's just a photography or what exactly happened here at the top of this pyramid. And I mean, I understand all the little lines in here. I have something here that I can show you that I think is similar to this. Now, what is going on here? I don't know. But I have another shot from the top, I believe, of the Great Pyramid, which is this one down here. And I have shots real close up right at the top. And as far as I'm concerned, these were not originally constructed. These are, well, I'll show you what they are. Okay, this is from a much smaller dragon, but it is a dragon scale of some sort. And that's the tab that locked the scale in. Now, of course, it's pyramid shaped. Now, you should be able to see some of these little little lines going across here. Very similar to what you see in the pyramids. And of course, the top. Now, there are some things about this that you wouldn't notice unless you took mud fossil instruction. Now, there is blood right there. I'm going to put this in the microscope. You'll see. That is, hold on, let me back out of this. Maybe turn this light off. Let me get set up. Hold on. All right, that's the pyramid. I think that's blood coming on there. I'd like to be able to see that. And there's one on each side. This is the scale I have here, and there's blood right there in the microscope. Here it is up in the microscope right there. Now you see those red spots? Let me see. See, that's blood, and this is where there was blood servicing this scale, and there's an outlet too. So this is blood coming in and out of that scale. Now I'm going to turn it over and show you the other spot. Okay, here we go. We're at the top of the scale. There's my thumb, my finger. Now, coming down that scale, right at the very bottom is where the blood comes out. You see it? That's where the blood comes out. Now, you can see all the little, same lines in it. Now, I'm going to just go underneath the bottom, all right, to where the blood is coming out of the other side here. Hold on, is right over here. If I can find, here it is, right there. That's where the other blood spot is. So it's got it coming in and out, and it's got all those little lines, and let me show it to you in a different light. All right, you've seen it from the top coming down. Let me just rub that off. There's a crown right at the top, and coming down that side, over this side, that side, this side. It's just it's a pyramid, basically. And there's blood coming in and out of it. Now, I've looked at the chambers inside the Great Pyramid, and I'm pretty sure they're biology. Huh, what at that? I never noticed that before. I'm going to have to go and look at that close. This is what's cool about this. I never saw that before. And that black dot is from a vein. Vein blood is black and turns real hard, and that's it. Now, I'm going to turn up the light a little bit. I can't get any closer. That's the best I'm going to do. This microscope is not all that good, but it serves its purpose. Now, I'm going to turn the light up, and you see right there is where the vein is. That's where the little tip allowed it to leak out. And that's the black vein blood. Now, all the rest is from the scale. It's just the outside of the scale of the creature. Now, the brighter I turn up the light, the less you'll be able to see. See, now you can see how there's, if I can just barely get light on it, sometimes you can really see. Otherwise, all the other things get overwhelmed with light, and all you see is brightness. If I turn this thing up real bright, you just see nothing but whiteness, see what I'm saying? It's a balancing act. But that, I can tell you right now, that right there is the vein. And that scale, there's no question, it's some kind of a dragon scale. The thing that I have right here in my shop. I'm looking at this and it's crazy. But that little black dot could be that little tiny spot there. I never saw that before. Now, down here is where some blood comes out. Over here, I never saw that before. Well, I have seen around the edges where places, I'm pretty sure where there was blood. And I'm going to show you some old maps, and I'm going to show you some pictures, and I think there's an arch, a support there that they always thought was a doorway. I don't know what they thought, that they put it in there, just, I don't know why. But I can see it was caving in. They put it in there to stop the caving in of a big blood vessel. So we're going to take a look at that, take a look at some of the old maps and so forth. Here we go. And again, this is what I was showing you. There's blood from there. That little black dot is there where that vein is. All right, this is what I call Slurpee. See that little globby stuff there? That's where it slides. Now the other one was over here, the vein, artery blood right there. See? And this, as far as I can tell, that's a tab that held this into the body of the creature. And there's a very sharp definition there. Somehow that hooked into something else, and the whole thing was a body armor. That's all I can tell you. That's what I see. But I know there's blood in here, and I actually have done a catalase test, and it did react. Catalase is in all biology, even plants, animals, and what it does is it blows off extra oxygen. And you put hydrogen peroxide on blood and it bubbles up. And that's when you know you had something biological. Bacteria, plants, animals, it doesn't matter. But it's from biology. And that is too. That right there, my friends, is some kind of dragon scale. Just as I believe these were. They're all aligned absolutely flawlessly in a row. You see the face? You see the face? You see the face? There's no difference to any of them. And I know they coated the outside of them. Yes, that I do know, because I've seen somewhere there was ones with the little bumps on them, and I know about what the bumps are too. And so they did this very similar construction in some places as they did over in Peru. Now let's look at this here. What do we got here? It doesn't even look like it's a pyramid shape. Is that correct? What's going on there anyway? That's the little one. So, as far as I'm concerned, those are dragon scales, and as I have shown you, or will show you, the system that leads up through the Nile, I believe, is the digestive system or some bodily, structure, and the scales were on it. All right, I'm just going to give you my best shot right off the top. This is from the guts of some kind of a dragon. And the scales are way down the end. You keep coming down the guts, the guts, the guts, the guts. The scales are right down here, where the, the pyramids are, right there. These are scales on that dragon. Now, all the rest of them, I don't know what happened to them. But these are totally aligned like scales running right down the dragon's back. And the ancient texts and pictures show them that these are dragon scales running down. They almost show them looking like they're on top of tree trunks. And they probably didn't understand either. They probably thought they were built out of trees. Let me show you that. But all coming down here. And then all of that is from the digestive juices, giving them really good, fertile territory, because that's out of the guts of some kind of a creature. This is some kind of
Para acá, mucha. Mucha. Mucha, mucha. Mucha, ya vine. Ay, ay. Mucha. Mucha, mucha, miren. A la bestia. Mucha. Ay, 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 ay. ¿Qué está en el palo? Miren, ve. La hielera, mucha. Mucha. Agarren la nena.
Follow me for your dose of nightmare fuel.
Okay, we all knew that Jurassic Park was bound to happen at some point, right? But who in the world knew that it would start with wolves and not dinosaurs? So I usually don't cover this kind of stuff, but when I came across this story, I was just waiting the entire video for them to say, haha, just kidding, not really, but it never came. And that absolutely shocked me. God's not going to be happy with this. We'll get into the direwolf story in a minute, but my question is, how long till we start seeing real dragons literally walking among us? If you try to tell me there's no dragons, yes they are. You can find them all over the earth still. And of course, not to mention legitimate drawings and illustrations of dragons over thousands of years, even paintings behind other paintings that have been covered up. And obviously the Chinese zodiac having all real animals in a fake animal. All of these movies we see, and I do mean all of them, are future documentaries of the world that we live in right now. So they basically de-extincted the dire wolf and has 15 traits not known to any animal on the earth right now. So we generally have no clue what it's going to do. And also the most puzzling part, the first dire wolf in is actually 13,000 years. I mean, the earth isn't but 6,000 years old. So with that being true, when did these wolves come from if they were ever really a thing? And if they weren't really a thing, what did they just concoct in the laboratory? You guys, I really don't think this is safe. And the craziest part, this is just what they have told us. So what have they done that we have no idea about? Am I the only person who remembers a certain person who will remain unnamed who wanted the corpse and the DNA of Gilgamesh? Y'all don't think there's god hybrids walking around this earth? You know, people who don't age unless they want to. I mean, would you believe me if I say that some of the people you watch on TV have been here for thousands of years? Because there is certain real evidence that make you think twice. But then again, I'm just being stupid and this is entertainment. By the way, last thing, does this remind anybody of werewolf? Surely there has to be a way how all of these cryptids have got here.
I agree, man. It's getting out of hand. Shout outs to the real Moon Henry. I don't know about the werewolf. Bringing back dragons is really creepy, for sure.
They got everyone thinking overseas is the Holy Lands. This is all Hebrew right here. All right, this is the tabernacle of Moloch that David took. All right, he made the Star of David, and then Solomon made the Seal of Solomon. Right here, Acts 7:43. You also took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, images which you made to worship. I will carry you away beyond Babylon. For those of you saying that I need to read the Bible, these were built by Solomon. These are Masonic pillars. This is ancient Hebrew. I'm going to go around the corner and show you the Judah temple with the lions on it. See the Judah lions? Right there, these are what I mean when I say that these were used to be open and you'd be able to walk right through. They convert these to doors. This is another Masonic hall that got converted during Kings and rebuilt. They messed with these dates right here. That's not the original date right here. It says right here, 2 Kings 21:3. He rebuilt the high places. Later in 21:6, it said he also made his son pass through fire, used witchcraft, mediums. He carved an image of Athrith that he had made in the house which the Lord had said to David and to Solomon. Down there at the end of the street, there's the statue of Ashereth. And here's the statue by Ashereth on it. Right? You can see right here, it says right on the bottom, Rensselaer County, Stephen Van Rensselaer, the Mason. These are all Masonic. Later in 21:11, has also made Judah sin with his idols. That's your tribe of Judah right here. On the other side, that's your idol. And this is going to be your Masonic arch right here. That's why every single one of these says hall right there, and they carve ones on each side because this was built in 89 AD. And on this side, Russell Sage Hall, they're Masonic halls. Right across the street and there, right in there, it says Rensselaer. Right there, Rensselaer, he was your 33 Grand Master. Right next to the hall, that's your pagan pantheon. That's not a church, that's a pagan temple. The same temples that are in Rome and Egypt. There's another one around the corner with the Egyptian wing and a Freemason crest on the top. I'll show you that too. This is the Egyptian temple right here. You can see the wings at the top with the Freemason marker in the middle of it. That's a pagan temple right here on the wall. It says Rensselaer again. That's up there because Solomon married the Queen of Egypt. Right on the door it says it again, Rensselaer County. Alright, so there's the Solomon temple right here. You got your bank, the keys of Solomon. This all got bricked over right here. And these are the markers. You got the music hall, the Mason hall, then the Rensselaer County, which is going to be the 33 Mason. This whole bank got bricked over. That's an ancient seal that got bricked around that goes back to Egypt. These banks are ancient. They all used to be temples. Right here, the signs again, Music Hall, Rensselaer County. It's Mason Hall. This is the Bank of America, right? National City Bank. It's an Egyptian temple. All right, this is right on the corner of State Street. Right behind me, all right, you're going to have a Templar church. There's your Templar cross. Right on the corner. And right behind it, you're going to have your Masonic temple. And this is all within like a 2 to 3 to 4 block radius. Up to date with the Templar Knight on the shield. That's hilarious. It says Harmony Hall. These are all Masonic halls. Just look behind me. Just look. It's all Masonic. Now this is Proctor's in Troy. You can see all the lion heads and Masonic crests going along this right here, right? This is all the tribe of Judah, and those are Masonic crests, the royal bloodlines. See at the top it's getting dark, but they're all crests up there. You see how this has a crest and this one got sanded off so you don't know what it was? This is literally the tribe of Judah. These same seals right here, and these arches on this temple, in front of this Proctor's Theater right here. They framed all this in. This used to be wide open. This whole thing, wide open.
This is some kind of bowels of the beast, and you get over here, there's some serious interaction going on between the black and the red blood. And you see that? You guys are mud fossil people. You don't have to be. It's quite obvious. This is not, like I always say, it's not hills and valleys. This isn't just, why is this black and it's red? And how come this doesn't have all those little tentacle-looking things going into it? There's a transferation of something here. It looks to me like it might have something to do with, well, I don't know. I have no idea. But all of this is biology. This whole thing, this is a gigantic creature. It's not one little puppy creature. And there must have been dragon scales all over this whole thing at one time. And let me show you the ancient pictures and we'll go from there. But don't forget, this runs out from this area where, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing but biology going on down here. And they always used to say, where's the source of the Nile? Well, it's biology, actually. They could never find it. This is, the whole thing here is biology. It's just absolutely stunningly large, but so is a bunch of the other ones I have shown. This is not really exceptional. It's stunning, and it's amazing nobody's ever realized this before, but it's nothing you would ever expect, basically, so nobody's ever thought about it, and probably people have. I think Michelangelo was saying, the earth is exactly the same as the human body, and it is because it's a creature's body, or it's bodies. So all this comes out of here. What this is probably part of the whole thing. It ends up going all the way up the dragon scales. Now here's how they had it portrayed in the ancient texts. All right, this is Babylon, they called it. Well, and here they go, right down the line. And they look like they're tree trunks. You see this? And then they built the pyramids on tree trunks. They almost show it looking like that. And there's a bunch of them. There's not just one or two. They run right all the way down the line. And I say those are dragon scales. And the tree trunks, they show them as tree. They look to me like they show them as tree trunks. And that's not a bad conclusion. Yeah, they're giant trees, and they used bits and pieces of them and made pyramids. But that's not the case. These are dragon scales. And if you look inside of the pyramids, they should be able to tell if that's biology. And I've looked inside. Some of it is hard to be fully certain of what you're seeing. But could they have transported these huge stones in there? I don't know. Could they have shaped the stones that were in there? When they talk about red granite, there's nothing more than blood. Red granite is a bloody tissue. Red granite is a bloody tissue. You see, this is right way up the top of the pyramid looking down. And, of course, the little spike or whatever they had at the top is gone, and a lot of the casing stones have fallen off. And you can see how blocky it is. And you see that black one right there? Why is that black, and why are we having like a hole right in there? I can tell you why, in my estimation, is the black is vein, and the whole parts are arteries. Now, you see all these little dots in the center of these? Not everyone has it, but a lot of them do. Now, did somebody come up and drill those holes in there? Maybe. I can't say that's not true, because they carve things in there, and it looks like some of the holes are drilled. I can't discount that whatsoever, and all of them might have been drilled, but they are there. Now, I have even a closer shot of this, so don't forget, this is coming down, right down the top, and of course you got all the blocks, and this has the same blocks. It's just that they're much smaller, so you really can't see them. But I'll show you what a tendon does look like, and these are nothing more than just like tendons. Tendons are blocky like this. And they're just like these little tendons. They have that little blocky structure in it. And this is what tendons look like right here, coming up. That's like right at the top. We saw it. They mimic the scales. They're not scales, but they mimic them in the structure of their fibrils. And here's what the top looks like. They come out, there's a pile of these little squares, and I showed you, they're layer after layer after layer, and they're little blocks. That's what a tendon looks like. All right, you see it close? You see the little blocks? And you see over there, that's what they look like. And they're made out of collagen fibrils, and they're tough as hell. And they resist all kinds of different things. Collagens are like your skin and that type of stuff, and the fascia, coatings, membranes. Very, very exceptional strength, first of all. And you see all the different colors? That indicates different tensile strengths. Different types. There's like 20 or so collagens, more than that. And every one of these colors is a different chemistry, which means it's either got more strength or more flexibility or whatever. And in the bundle, they are just unbelievably tough. I mean, tendons are just incredible. And they're under tension all the time. That's why they call them tendons. And here's what they look like when they break flat off. And they do. And these are just absolutely gigantic. Your Earth is covered with gigantic creatures. And those dragon scales now are pyramids, as far as I'm concerned. And here's right up close and personal. Now, here's these little holes in them. Did they drill those? That I don't know. I don't know. I see them carving their names in them, but this one here, that's artery. I mean, that's vein blood. And it looks like to me, the artery was here close, and that's normally the case. You're going to have an artery and you're going to have a vein. Nobody put that there. That is artery blood, as far as I'm concerned. And these blocks are all the different looking size blocks. And that's what happens in these fibrils. The casing stones, yes, they smooth them off, and I've seen that they did that. I can't discount that whatsoever. However, this is more of the structure of a tendon.
As always, this one was a mind bender. Shout outs to Roger Spur, Mud Fossil University, with his theory that the pyramids are dragon scales. What's ironic is that he found blood on the rock. Made me think of the Dylan Page video and the dire wolves. Definitely crazy.
Would you like me to start on just the amazing technology that's embedded in it? Such as...
Well, what is it, first of all?
Well, number one, it was designed to be able to go anywhere and...
is it a suit that you wear? Like what people... We got to give people a visual first.
Oh, okay.
What would you see on somebody who's wearing
if you would see this suit, what it would look like if someone had like a scuba suit on.
Okay.
A very small amount of neoprene, but it's not neoprene at all. But it fits that tight, and it's very, very thin. And the suit has the ability to absorb all the shock in your body if you were to jump, 40 feet off a cliff onto the ground. So all the weight is distributed into the whole suit, so your body will feel nothing at all.
Wow.
It also is bulletproof. It's shock-proof. It's electromagnetic proof to an extent. It has the capabilities in the helmet are just fascinating. It is all mind thought controlled because it's actually connected to you, like you said, with these little things in your back, but
what
not in your
about things
back.
like heat and cold?
Yeah, that's the best thing about it is it will keep any temperature that you want. It actually measures your body at all times and knows how much sweat you're sweating. It knows, how much air you're breathing, your body temperature, your blood pressure, everything. It also can tighten to absorb impact and release, so you can actually be so comfortable wherever you're at. So you won't even feel it. You'll feel like you're naked. But in a time where you're about to move, it all tightens up and activates, in nanoseconds. It was made as a super soldier suit.
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you check this one right here. Thanks again. Till next time.